Hotel. Okay. All right. Thank you. Hello, ladies. How are you? You, Karen? You good? Good. Did you have an image in there?
Yes,
I thought I heard someone coming.
Amazing one.
Which one was yours?
The skateboard.
That was quite cool, wasn't it? Yeah.
A happy mistake. I've held on to that image for a long, long time, hoping I can repair it.
Yeah.
And I'm taking Photoshop, so.
You probably get better and better as you keep going back to it.
I'm gonna keep the original. Maybe, unfortunately, I don't have it. It's not a raw image, it's a JPEG, but it can still do more and more
I got
things.
plenty of them.
JPEGs. Oh.
Well, I only learned about raw about 3-4 years ago.
I only shoot in RAW now, and then I'm safe.
But
Then I'm
Well,
safe.
I keep saying take RAW and JPEG, but you end up with so many files, and then I am deleting all the JPEG.
standing there at the moment. Back to the shoes.
I'm not saying. Yeah, I just want to get something. Huh? You know that. My sin.
That's a reasonable number, isn't it? That's pretty good. Yeah, it's quite respectable. Yeah.
One woman type pack. Make it square.
Hello. Oh, there we are. Sorry. Sorry, I'm a bit late getting started. Someone said there was chocolate, so I just actually had to have some. I feel much better. Well, good evening, everyone. That was really interesting, first half of the evening. I just sat at the back, so I was late getting here, but it was nice to listen to the critique and hear the suggestions for the authors. It's enjoyable for everyone, I hope. I hope you've all had a good week, and nice to see you actually here tonight. Have we got any visitors tonight? Anybody new? Hello, welcome. Is this your first time here? Welcome. I hope you enjoy the evening and make yourself known. We're quite friendly, most of the time anyway. I have put a couple of photo print carriers on the front here, which I found in one of my spare rooms, so apologies to John McCall and Karen McConaughey because they're yours, and they were hiding under my bed in the spare room, so you can take those home with you tonight. I also have some hinged mats with me for those people who've already pre-ordered. I think it was Ian and I forget who else, so if you're waiting for any, Lisa as well. Is Lisa here? No? Or Ian? No, okay. Just get in touch with me if you want them again, and I'll try and bring them again next week. I have a couple of notices in regard to club competitions due to close. Tonight we have the closing of Projected Image 9, so make sure your image is in before midnight. Is that correct tonight? Yes. And next Wednesday is the close of Printed Image 5. Again, don't forget to upload your, sorry, my voice is going again, it does this every week, your thumbnail, plays onto the website. The MDC is also running till the end of the month, and the theme is Mix It Up, so anything from concrete mixes to cookie mix, I presume. Ian wants to say a word, and I've just got a couple more things to say while I have a drink because my voice is going again. I don't think I'm cut out for this. I just croak every time I come up. There we go.
You're doing a fine job. You're not getting out of it that easy. Nice try. Three things. I talked briefly last week about Ferg Campbell coming back. So confirming that Ferg and Carol are here for the weekend, and it's the first time they have been in Christchurch since the earthquake. So it's pretty cool that they're coming back. For those of you who were around when they were here, they were really active and super cool members of the club. So what Ferg wants to do is to have a wander around the city and have a kind of a photo walk. I mentioned that a little bit last week, but the plan is we're going to meet in the art gallery, not the car park, the area at the front there at 10 o'clock, and just go for a walk. We'll set up cameras so that they're shooting square, because Ferg's a bit square obsessed and he wants the people to have a go at shooting square for a wander around, and we'll end up at somewhere around Riverside for a cup of coffee later on. If you're desperate to get a coffee before you start, I think it's called Bunsen, the coffee place in the Arts Centre. He's going to aim to be there at 9:30, and that's straight across the road from where they used to live, so it's a bit of a comeback for them. So that's the first thing. That's a Sunday, 10 o'clock on Sunday, this Sunday. 17th, I think it is. Sunday, doesn't matter. The second thing was the Shelley Harvey workshop. We've had some problems with getting locations, basically. All the people that we had jacked up, that hasn't worked, so Shelley would prefer to put it off probably late November at this stage, so stand by for that. It's still coming, it's still going to happen, and we're still keen, but possibly now just put back a month from the original plan. And the third thing is we have another next week. There's the RCC's unavailable, they've got something here, so there's no meeting next week, but the week after we have a 7 o'clock session that's free at the moment. So what I want you to do is to go away and have a look at the showcases that Dennis has set up on the website, and if you've got travel pictures that were your awesome pictures that you took out when you're on your last overseas or anywhere holiday, travel pictures, creative pictures, something different, or black and white pictures, really push those showcases, and we'll do another 7 o'clock session like we did tonight, which is just going to be put the pictures up, get everybody in, and we just have a yarn about them. So I think it was successful tonight, so we're just going to push that plan and see how far it'll go. So showcases under the website. It's right at the bottom of the competition entries, and stick your pictures in.
I just had a thought. So you said the club's not available next week. That's the close of the print competition.
I think it's the week later.
Oh, it's the week after, is it?
27th.
Oh, I thought that's going to be difficult. I'm going to be standing outside on the front porch with a box. That's all right. Sorry. I should have had a glass of wine instead of Milo. Maybe that would sort me out. Anyway, any more notices that anybody would like to say tonight? No? Okay. Just wanted to draw your attention to the PSNZ workshops. Judy Stokes is doing one in November this year in Christchurch. I've done one with her, and I think Ian and a couple of other people did one with her in Hokitika. It was excellent. It's a whole weekend, and I think it's down for $245 for the weekend with Judy, and it's all on creativity. So if you're a member of PSNZ, you can go on and try and get your name down before. I think there's a few places left. And finally, I also sent an email out regarding the silhouette workshop, the second one, run by Shah Divine. Those of us who went last time had great fun, and I keep meaning to get everyone to give me some images so I can put them up on the screen for you to see. But there's another one going to happen on the 4th of November. So if you want to know, I've already got 3 names down, and there's only 3 left. So if you're interested, please let me know. She also won an award yesterday in America for the International Portrait Masters Award. So she's a very experienced and highly thought of portrait photographer. So, we can learn a lot from her if it's something you would like to do in the portrait field. She's open to doing other classes for us next year as well. So, without further ado, we will proceed with tonight. I'll get John to talk about our judge.
Kia ora, I'm John Hunt. Tonight got the pleasure of presenting the results of the open projected image number 8. The judge for this was John Jones Parry. I invited him along until he wrote back to me to say he now lives in Australia, so a wee bit difficult. But he did write a couple of notes to us, and I'll read them out to you now. It says, "Hello Christchurch Photographic Society. I've enjoyed assessing your images. As you will be aware, you've got some really strong up-and-coming photographers. So that's good news for now and for the future. I've long noticed that in larger, well-established clubs, such as yours, photographers in grades C and B often bite at the heels of the A graders. That's why I'm commending your club for giving the strong judging guidelines which can mitigate this, but not rewarding A-graders who are sitting on their laurels. I'm a retired academic and live with my wife Gina in Melbourne. We have 2 sons who live in Australia and 3 grandchildren. I picked up my first camera at the age of 6 and was given a box brownie at age 9 until I can't quite read that actually. Until I retired, photography took a back seat. Since retirement, I've gained an LPSNZ, becoming president of the North Shore Photographic Society for 2 years, chair of the North Shore Salon for 2 years, and president of the Hibiscus Coast Camera Club, and a member of the club committees for about 6 years. I enter a few salons, but now more and more interested in developing my own style at last. I enjoy most forms of photography, but particularly like nature, people and street. I use a Fuji X-T2 with various Fuji lenses, and I appreciate the lack of weight as well as the image quality. Thank you for asking me to assess your images. It's a bittersweet experience as it's almost my last assessment. I do hope members find the comments helpful. Regards and happy clicking. And Janine Money is going to read the comments tonight.
Just check, you can hear me okay? Yeah. Cool, thank you. Score 1, PJ 3 American Icons. A nice record of a nice coincidence. It is a nice shot which will bring happy memories to the creator. In my opinion, a little more creative input could produce an even more effective image. Snowflake spur. I am reminded of a large marine animal or fish, such as a manta ray, projecting grace and power. Consider cropping in slightly from both left and right to produce more of a portrait frame. Perhaps increase the contrast just a tad and see if the image is stronger. That ridge is the key. Well seen. Linnet, black-backed gull. On my screen the bird is not sharp and I find that unsettling. The sky and clouds, mist effects appear very noisy. The idea is good, but the technique has to be honed, so good on you for trying. When making bird images, I find it useful to set my camera on auto ISO up to 6400, then use 1/2000 seconds and around f5.6 or wherever the sweet spot on my lens is. Wired. I am unsure what the photographer is attempting to convey here. In my opinion, this is a good attempt at creativity which has not quite got there. Impractical, I know, but something like the top of a ladder leaning against the pole may have suggested a story. Or perhaps the showing of the point where the wires touch the pole. Channel crossing. I am a little uncertain as to what the photographer is attempting to say with this image. What was the reason for making it? However, it is nicely composed and the almost black and white rendering is interesting. I wonder if they would consider cropping down from the top to exclude the line of rocks. That may place more emphasis on the figure and its relationship with the water. In my opinion, it's worth a try. Score 2, the mannequin. I find this image creepy, so good on the photographer. This image demonstrates a nice use of composition, depth of field, and an interesting colour palette. My eye goes straight to the hand and then up the figure. However, it then lands on that overexposed highlight on the head. Would the photographer consider cropping down from the top to eliminate that area? It is difficult to ignore it. Kansas Monument rocks. Well exposed and in all respects technically sound, this image is a nice record of these interesting landforms. Would the photographer next time consider getting in closer and lower with that wide lens to emphasise the grandeur and timelessness of their subject? This would also provide more creativity and artistry. Flyball focus. A humorous, engaging image, well executed, which solidly records its subject. Lines of art. There is a lot going on here. I enjoy the contrasts of the vertical and horizontal lines, the great tonal range, and the contrasts between the man-made building and the people using it. In my opinion, the story is in the bottom half of the image, so I would crop down to just above or below the line of 6 seats and then enjoy the story of the steep stairs, the wonderful lines, and the prospect of those folk climbing to the top. Take flight. A good attempt at an engaging subject. I find that the large white food source is dominating, and the large number of birds makes it difficult to find a place to rest within the image. Consider cropping into the 3 main birds on the left, thus cropping out the others, as well as much of the food and the slanting white board. Birds in flight often require 1/2000th of a second shutter speed or less to render them sharp. Who's for pigeon pie? Here's a bird enjoying life. This is a good natural history shot. In the open A-grade section of this competition, it is a well-made record of a natural happening which needs more of the photographer's creativity in its making. Perhaps the photographer would consider cloning out some of the feathers on the right-hand side so that the bird appears to be surrounded by a complete circle of feathers. The feathers cut off at the edge are distracting, technically well presented. Nepalese puppy dog. This tugs at the heartstrings. Good. Nicely exposed and critically sharp, this image seems to give insight into the relationship between the dog and the photographer. The vertical line of the building focuses the eye on the dog, and especially those nicely lit eyes. I do find the white door to be distracting. Consider reducing the exposure on it. However, it may go grey. A lovely portrait, well executed and emotive, with just a little too much distraction around the subject. In a King's Garden, Sandringham. This is a nice sharp image with good use of depth of field. While I enjoy the 3 sections of the flower, I do feel that the butterfly is outshone. Would the photographer consider cropping in so that the central flower and the butterfly can express the story? Nicely exposed too. Reflective Venice. Isn't it a lovely city? The reflections of the clouds help to draw the eye into the image, as well as suggesting the relative timelessness of the buildings. I feel that this scene, without global warming, will be around for hundreds more years. If the photographer so wanted, they could really make this image pop. Just a little more brightness, a bit more contrast, and perhaps a tiny bit of saturation would utterly transform this cityscape. Seagull. This triptych utilises the repetition of the same or similar birds against the same sky. It is effective and made more so by the contrast of the sharp rocks. In my opinion, this triptych in total is greater than the sum of its parts. Each image is well made, but not remarkable, yet the 3 together are a pleasing record. Score 3, so this is the first of the acceptances, to look at. An eye-catching image drawing its strength from symmetry. I find it engaging and also disconcerting. Nice use of blurring to isolate the eye, so well done. Consider cloning in some pink petal material on that black area at the right middle edge of the frame. I find it distracting. The difference in the blurriness of the flower just above the eye with the blurriness just below is also distracting. Would the photographer also consider rendering the eye, not the lashes, in its natural colours? Try it and see if it appeals. Nicely seen, a great idea which just needs refinement. Low tide. A lovely interpretation evoking peacefulness, stillness, and pleasant isolation. I enjoy the complementary colours and the stability of the bottom third. While there is no central point on which to rest the eye, the whole scene is immersive and an image that can be returned to again and again. Mountain mists. I do enjoy the way this image immediately draws the eye into the landscape. Nicely done. The subtlety of the tonal graduation and the overall muted palette / exposure evokes the reality of the scene as well as bringing memories of similar experiences. While I respect the artistic decision to keep the pylons in the image, in my opinion they are distracting. A lovely image. Geometry. What interesting shapes. I feel as if I may be looking at an ocean liner. I enjoy the use of the negative space and the many repetitions and contrasts employed. I find my eye moving from one interesting item to another. The tonal range has been well handled. It is altogether a satisfying image. However, I am conflicted because essentially this is someone else's art, i.e. the architect's. So has the photographer put enough of their own artistry, creativity, into this image to justify it as their own work? In this case, in my opinion, yes. The tonal treatment is creative and adds to the whole. Also, in my opinion, this is a close call. Forgotten. To raise this above a prosaic piece of photojournalism, consider cropping up to eliminate the two lowest signs. In my opinion, this gives the eye more opportunity to study the most important element in this image, the human faces, which are expressing even more opinion than all the signs. The choice of black and white allows the emotion to be felt without distraction, and the line of protesters is a potent visual tool. High country sunset. That blockbuster red sky is stunning. Lucky you. Another strength is the composition, which underpins the image with strong horizontal lines, providing stability, contrasting with the mountains in their symmetrical majesty. I enjoy the light along the mid-grasses and nearer river stones. These provide some detail in a darkish image. Flower burst. What a luxurious bomb of colour and bouquet. The background of black sets off the lighting in this image. Great use of contrast and camera movement. Sumptuous colours repeated. Would the photographer consider cropping down from the top? Eliminating a bit more of that area may result in a stronger image. It's worth trying. Wairepo arm of Lake Ruataniwha in winter. What a cold day. Nice framing and foreground interest lead the eye into a fairly flat scene, which I have no doubt was absolutely beautiful. I wonder if, by cropping out the hills, the image would reflect more of the crispness and reality of the place. Also consider increasing saturation on the trees very slightly. Nice use of depth of field. Successful hunter. Good on the photographer for making an image of a bird that is actually doing something. These images are incredibly hard to record, even if high-speed shutter bursts are used, so well done. The bird is sharp enough and the action is centre stage. Consider cropping in a little from the right. You may find that losing the space for the bird to move into may be compensated by more detail in the larger image. An even faster shutter speed and ISO would have provided tack sharpness. My dog. An engaging image utilising soft light which really suits the subject. I enjoy the golden highlights in the hair. They seem to frame the face. Nice bokeh finishes a competent image. The busker. I want to know more of the story here. I enjoy the repetition of the horizontal slats and their juxtaposition with the irregular figure, especially the hair. While the silhouette makes an interesting statement, I need to see a little more of the eye socket, the nose and the lips. This could be achieved if it were possible to place the camera a tad to the left. There is an enticing piece of light at the bottom mid-right. What does it mean and why is it there? Allowing a bit more light in to give hints of texture to the clothing may well be an interesting experiment. Sharing shared ruins. This takes me back to my childhood and sharing days, so thank you. What stories you have invoked. It's time to head out of the far door for a smoko. The straight lines of the boardwalk seem to underpin the basic uniformity of this ramshackle textured building. So does the repetition of the windows and the chutes and the rafters, etc., etc. So in my opinion, lovely composition. I do feel that the exposure could be handled in a more dramatic way, e.g. by selectively reducing the exposure of on the trees. So it doesn't make sense. The light at the top could be reduced and made less intrusive. Similarly, other colours could be increased or decreased. Lightroom makes this simple after a black and white conversion. So more contrast would, in my opinion, make an even stronger image. After the rain. I want to immerse myself in this image, but I do find this dark square block, dead centre, to be distracting and too dominant and rectangular for the rest of the beautiful image. However, I enjoy the mirroring in the image. Also, the lovely pastel palette produces an ethereal, restful feeling. Nicely thought out, except, in my opinion, for that middle. Consider removing that section and see if you like it. Pier walk. Good on the photographer for having a good creative crack at this, and especially for waiting for the two figures in the circle. The precision and position of the main elements, i.e. the wharf and the circle within the square, are central to the effectiveness of the image. The images of people and the sea provide life to an otherwise inanimate object. Nicely done. I do wonder about that rock wall and how we might be relieved by its absence. Good creative attempt. Score 4, this is the first of the high acceptances. Side-lit sunrise at Sailor's Cutting. I feel as if I have got up early and am enjoying the morning. Nicely done. The black and white rendering seems to add to the stillness and certainly allows the eye to appreciate the subtleties of the light. I enjoy the way in which the cloud has been used to attract attention to areas of the land. e.g. the cloud in the small valley in the centre. There are some beautiful gradients of light, and the slight underexposure of the trees and the low hills add mystery. A lovely image, nicely composed. Saved. Beautifully lit, emphasising the environment as much as the action. This is a well-composed, creative image, throwing light on the relationships of humans and animals in an isolated environment. Nicely made. Drunk from the fumes. What a story here. The photographer has captured the action using a triangle made by the head and the two pots. I enjoy the black and white rendering and the use of the doorway light. Consider cropping in from the left, almost to the circle of the cooker. In my opinion, the gap between the woman and the barrel is unsettling and does not add to the image. The eggs at the bottom are the icing on the cake. Hold on. The epitome of the critical moment. Beautifully captured and composed. Consider a little more drama by increasing the brightness, contrast, and saturation very slightly. Lost in the mists of time. I enjoy the otherworldliness of this image created by camera movement and an intense colour palette. This adds up to an impressionistic image held together by strong composition based upon triangles and long parallel lines. The old wharf piles provide tension at a powerful place in the frame. A well thought out image with a strong story. Water drops on rosebud. I can almost smell this rose. A combination of excellent composition, good use of depth of field, and critical sharpness makes this image a standout. A nice display of beauty transmitted through photographic skills. Caught in the light. At first glance, the figure seems to jump off the page to meet me. The experience, age, and wisdom of this woman are inviting me to talk with her. So congratulations on that. The use of side lighting has created a malleable surface to work with. I enjoy the straight-on aspect, the eyes on third, and the tilt of the head. Overall, a skillfully made portrait to be viewed from a distance. Ruins of an old stone house. This is an immediately immersing image that makes me feel homesick. The leading lines of the road, emphasised by the tallish grasses in the foreground, set us up for a walk into this interesting landscape. I enjoy the relief of the shadows, the contrasts of the building and the hills, and the supportive drama of the sky. Perhaps the photographer would consider removing the telephone pole. Just a thought. Eyeing the line. A high action moment, nicely captured with great control of light. I enjoy the section of calm water along the base, which stabilises the whole image and also emphasises the motion. Fluidity. Here is an example of beauty and creativity being found in the mundane. The curves evident here, combined with the shutter speed, do produce a feeling of movement. At first I found the image unstable, and then I reflected that this was probably the photographer's intent. I hope I got it right. The longer I look at this image, the more movement I see in the detail. Nicely done. Score 5, this is the first of the honours. The one left behind. simple in its tonality and composition, this image allows powerful story making in one's head. Would the photographer consider cropping a little off the top to give a more panoramic feel, and so perhaps emphasize the distance between the figures and the tree? A great place to bring up the family. I am drawn into this old farmhouse and into its memories. Good leading lines draw the eye into the story, both past and present. I also enjoy the control of the light, especially in the ceiling areas and in the doorway. The lines which lead to emotive shapes and textures are, in my opinion, a great strength of this image. A very complex and interesting image with plenty of room to wander around in and develop one's own story. Winter glow. A lovely image which allows the mind and eye to interact and travel. In my opinion, a piece of art. Golden sighs in the wind. Beautiful colours and textures immediately immerse me in this woodland. A very creative idea, generally successfully done, especially in the grasses under the trees. Perhaps a little more subtlety in the strong colours of the right-hand tree leaves may make an even more immersive image. But that is the artist's choice, and this is a fine piece. And score 6, best in show, flow. I'm interpreting this image as an object and its shadow. Thus, the photographer has added a considerable amount of their own creativity to the original work. This is a lovely image, beautifully thought out and executed. The gentle lines and the flow of the shapes are the basis of a nice piece of art. The exquisite control of the tonal range underlines the skill that belies the apparent simplicity. It certainly captures the imagination and engages the viewer in a gentle yet absorbing way.
Thank you, Janine. That was excellent. So we've got the pleasure now of making these awards. And first off, we have to look at Thyra Colesell. Oh, not here. Low Tide by Francesca Davies. Mountain Mists by Diana Andrews. Geometry by Penny Kennedy. Forgotten by Newell Greenfell. Well done. High Country Sunset by Janine Money. Flower Burst by Paul Williams. Wairipo Arm of Lake Ruataniwha in Winter by James Glucksman. Successful Hunter by Alan Moore. My Dog by Alicia Hebden. The Busker by Adrienne Gentleman. Sharing Shed Ruins by John McCall. After the Rain by Annette Preen.
She doesn't come.
Okay, thank you. Pear Walk by Nola Sumner.
Australia.
Oh, is that right? Okay. And now High Acceptance. Sidelit Sunrise at Sailors Crossing by Ian Harrison. Saved by Peter Curtis. Drunk from the Fumes by J.K. Hold On by Nicola Jackson. Lost in the Mists of Time by John Hawkins. Water Drops on Rosebud by Jan Bogue. Caught in the Light by Alistair Phillips. Ruins of an Old Stone House by Bonnie Steetskamp. Is she? Oh, she's doing. Eyeing the Line by Les Arman. Fluidity by Maxine Cooper. Well done. And now we have Honours. The One Left Behind by Heechin Kim. Well done. A Great Place to Bring Up a Family by Richard Cooper.
Thank you.
Hold on. Winter Glow by Joe Curtis. Golden Sighs in the Wind by Karen Dance. And Honours and Best in Show, Flow by Diane Kelsey. Well done.
I see another one here.
Oh, yeah, they're from the other day.
Collecting.
Collected, no. I didn't.
That's also yours.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, thank you.
I'll give that back to you.
Super.
Thanks,
Thank you. Have we got time to talk about any of the images? Or? Yeah, okay. Because I haven't got, sorry, we'll start with mine. Okay, I took this on my hearth. That's a little bit of a concrete hearth, and The light was really nice, just coming in from the side. So I didn't use any lights. That was just sort of window light. And that's a particular little vase I picked up, and I like the lines. So basically, yeah, simple, nothing really to it other than trying to capture a really nice shadow, which came up well. So that was it, fairly easy to do actually. Can we go back one and see? I beg your pardon? Richard, would you like to talk, sorry, to us? I've got a head like a sieve tonight, sorry. I wouldn't like to be your family living there. It looks a bit drafty.
Are you sure? Are you sure now? We had a nice holiday in the Ida Valley, and some friends poked me through that door, which was really hard because I'm the slimmest one out of the whole lot, and so used my old A99 with a wide-angle lens and then straightened it up in Photoshop and turned it black and white. So, yeah, quite like it. Thank you.
I like the soft finish to it. It's really nice. It looks like an aged finish to the image, which... No, I really like it. It's very nice. Okay, can we pop back, Alan Heacham? I wonder if they'd had a row with the teenager. Do you think? Maybe sulking, perhaps?
I took it in Korea. When I saw that scenes, I would like to make a story. A man, in looked, a man made a new girlfriend and left ex-girlfriend in sadness. Thank you.
I like the graphic elements. It's really nice. And we've got time for... with the other honours. Maxine, would you like to just talk us through where you did this?
It was just an Bullshit Creek. Do you know
I just use this then we can, because not everyone can hear from the outside.
the old woolshed, when you carry on down the road past the turn off to the Clay Cliffs in Omarama area, there's a wee creek down there, and I just happened, because I love water, I love playing with time and light, and the light was just perfect. It was those colours, and it was just beautiful. And I just thought, oh, and I spent ages down there. Everybody else was taking photos of woolsheds, and I was out down playing with water.
That's great. Thank you. They always say you should look behind when you're doing a sunrise or sunset anyway, don't they? So it's always good to look in another direction, just in case, for the winning shot. Have we got any more honours? High acceptances. We'll do another one, I think. Bonnie, was that this? Is Bonnie gone? Oh. Thank you.
So this one was taken when we were on our CPS weekend down at Omarama, and we got some free time in the afternoon. So we'd been taught about using the infrared light. No, the red filter on the red filter on a black and white, and I'd never done that before. So we had quite a lot of fun that afternoon. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, it's nice. That's good. I recognise it. I think we were all there. Oh, it's nice. Yeah, I actually was having trouble doing some black and white the other day, and I realised I hadn't taken the red filter off. So that was getting a lot of murky images. So, okay. I don't think there's anything else anybody wants to add tonight. I haven't got anything else to say. So it's 9:05. So finally it just comes down to thanking the boys at the back, and I'm not sure who's up there. And we've got Gordon, Andrew, Tim, Wayne, all of you or none of you or some of you at the back. Thank you. Janine for reading, Dennis for opening, and Dennis and Adrienne for closing. You usually close, don't you, Adrienne? Yeah, thank you. And Alan on the projector, and John and Dennis for supper. Anybody else I've forgotten? No? Well, thank you. Thank you all for coming, and safe trip home.